Hey everybody, welcome back to my third video in the Krita comic and Krita series. Today I'm going to kind of split it between Krita and then Affinity Designer and Publisher for like the final export and everything. There are a couple of things I just wanted to like go over in Krita before we go to Affinity software. So just kind of like show some things I did in Krita just to make things a little easier. One of those being, like, for some elements in the background, I would use the measure assistant tool. Sorry, the assistant tool. The perspectives, the rulers, the, what is this called? The ellipse, stuff like that, just to make my life a little easier. I actually didn't do that very much with Pumpkin Prince's head because I wanted kind of like an organic shape. And pumpkins aren't perfectly round, and I kind of wanted to keep a non-perfectly round shape for that. So I kind of just, if I needed to, I would use it as just like a baseline, and I would go through and kind of like fine tune it or tweak it a little bit to make it a little less perfect. And that was intentional. Like I said, I wanted it to have a more organic feel. And then what else? For the most part, it was just grayscale in here, just picking out different tones and stuff to fill everything in, and making sure all my layers were organized properly. So this is primarily the background color, and the figures were on their own layer. Each page is a little bit different in regards to that. Some background elements were drawn on their own layers as well. For line art and the cross hatching, I made sure to do on separate layers just in case I didn't like how it was looking. I could just go back and erase it. A lot of that was just due to me being paranoid I was going to mess it up, which is kind of silly because I'm like, if it looks good in the end. There's no perfect way to do it, really. It's just, don't overthink it. And that's pretty much how I finalized everything, organized the layers and stuff like that. There we go. And once I got all that done, I would go and just save it out as a PNG file because it's grayscale. I didn't really worry too much about color space or anything like that, but a TIFF file would work, a JPEG, whatever format. I just saved it out as a PNG. And then from there, I went and assembled it in Affinity Publisher. And I'll go ahead and open it up now. Alright, so now we are in Affinity Publisher. This is my entire comic here laid out. Everything looks really good, and it has the lettering and everything else in here as well, which I did within Affinity as well. Krita isn't great for text, but it does an okay job for like basic stuff if you want to make a placeholder or something like that. But for fine-tuning, it isn't really there yet, and that's okay. I would never expect Krita to like be a full-blown like software to do fancy stuff with text. The bare minimum is honestly perfectly fine with me, but obviously for a comic we need to get a little bit more advanced, right? Alright, so the font I used from Blambot, he has a ton of fonts available. Some of them are free, some of them you have to pay for, which isn't like a big deal. They're very affordable in my opinion. There's commercial licenses, and then if you're an indie creator, for the free ones, I believe, most of them you have a free license to go ahead and sell your comic with them. I actually went and paid for these because I don't think there was a free option, which is totally fine. I don't know. I felt the Manga Master Pro, which is what I'm using here, that worked fairly well for me. And I used his book about lettering and stuff to kind of like give me some pointers and tips for things I just didn't think of when it comes to comic lettering, and it just helped a lot. So I would recommend going to check out some comic fonts from him. And if there's someone else you like to get fonts from, that's totally fine. So the first thing I did was I went and got my script, and I just pasted everything in here. You can't see it here. So let me go to view. Where is this? View mode, and we don't want to clip to canvas. I want to make this white. And then I just kind of pasted my text in a box on the side. That way I had all the text I needed for that page, and I did that for every single page. That way I can just say, all right, this is the text for this page and then that page, and then I can go ahead and copy it and paste that over into the actual panels and start tweaking as needed. I don't know if there's like a right or wrong way to do that, but that's just what I did. It made my life a little easier, and I just kind of tasked it out by that, if that makes sense. Like, fill the text in, then start applying to the panels, and then start tweaking based on the boxes and stuff. So there were some text boxes I needed to modify, like here. I'm gonna actually zoom in. You can see the lines around here. That I couldn't do in Publisher. I had to switch over to Designer. And the nice thing about Affinity products is you can switch between Publisher, Designer, and Photo. They call it the personas. So I can basically do all this without actually opening Designer, but I will open Designer to show a couple specific file things. I'm gonna switch to Designer real quick. So here, I'm now in Affinity Designer. I can go to, is this the right shape? Yeah. This shape here, it's a grouped shape. I have the white circle, or the white bubble here, and then I have the outline, which is the lines. So for that, it'd be a brush, and I just switched computers, so I didn't copy these directly over, but you can actually go into the brushes and start picking out different line types. So if I take this over here, I'll just put it here, you can see it better. Every time you choose one of the brushes, it changes the outline of that shape. And that can really give you some extra, let's see, let's try to make this white, some extra depth to your word balloons. And I really liked that, and I wanted to play more with it than just what the brushes were here. So I'm going to open up Designer and show you my lettering file, which is kind of chaotic, but I had a lot of fun doing it. Just so you have an idea of how the Affinity Designer stuff works and what you can do for lettering as well. I'm not a pro at this by any means, but once I got the hang of how to make my own brushes and modify them for the word balloons and just setting all that stuff up, it was fun. So let me open up Designer. So this is my template of word balloons and brushes and stuff that I made from scratch. This background image is there to make sure that everything is sized correctly, and the size of the font itself is accurate. So I found a comic page online, which is between Harley Quinn and I forgot what her name is. I'm totally drawing a blanket. I don't know. I forgot her name. She's a new character. She's just interesting, but yeah, I like Harley Quinn, so that's kind of why I picked this. And it was a really interesting page. Anyway, so that's just kind of what I did as a baseline to make sure the word balloons were kind of like being sized properly, as was the text itself. And from here, I made some basic word balloons, just a couple different shapes, just to get myself into like the feel of it. A couple different word balloon tails. Here is the Manga Master Pro symbols here. I'm gonna actually make these bigger so we can see them a little better. He had cat whiskers, so if you want to like showcase, or not showcase, but put like, oh, sniffles or breathing or inhaling, you can put that in between the cat whiskers. And then there are a couple other little icon things that I like that I just put in here. I didn't use these in the comic by any means, but I wanted them there for easy access, because you have to go through this weird process to actually put them in. It's not just like it's not an alt code. I don't remember off the top of my head how to do it, so I'd have to go look it up again, but this is just for easy reference and access. We can copy and paste it. I'm actually gonna make this white so we can see here. And then this will be white as well. All right, because this comic page is so busy, we're gonna just keep this like like that. And I did use this black background a couple times just to see how everything looked. So here you can see some exclamation word balloons that I was kind of putting together, trying out a more bubbly, not fantasy, but whimsical type border for a text word balloon, and just seeing how it looks. And this one is kind of crazy. Looked weird from far, from zoomed out. So this is the one I was just showing you in Illustrator, which was this word balloon here. Let me undo that. There we go. For impactful, speech and stuff like that. This is more of a blurred, whimsical type word balloon, I guess. Not too sure what's happening with this one. I just thought it looked interesting, so I kept it. And all of this was done in Designer. So the way you would have to do it is, make sure you move these out of the way. You basically have to make your stroke however you want. So these are just a bunch of shapes, and I grouped them together. And with the lines, I just copy and pasted it multiple times, I believe. But I remember how I did these. I think that's what I did. So I could have some, I could have a word balloon like this, but it's all the same size for the line length. Or I could have it more offset where it's not consistent. You can kind of see that with these two right here. Don't really know what was going on with this word balloon, but I was just experimenting, having fun, testing things to see how they worked. Once I had them all done in the actual Affinity Designer file here, I could just go through and say, okay, this word balloon is not going to have this border, right? And then I wouldn't have to constantly switch between the actual programs. And after that was done, I just exported the entire thing as a PDF. The nice thing about this was I wanted to make sure my file size was not crazy. So I had to go through, make sure the DPI was okay, and then make sure the compatibility was at a lower setting. This did reduce the quality ever so slightly on the low-res PDF, but I have to play this a little bit more just to make it better, I guess. I think part of it was PDF for print when it should have been like digital. I don't know. I don't really remember what settings I used. It was like a month or so ago, so forgive me. But you get a lot of options for the export, and I totally appreciate that. And then that was pretty much it. Then I sent it off to the printer. I think my main fault with sending it to the printer was this is where I was pretty mad at myself, is I should have done a color print versus a black and white, because the color print came out almost exactly as you see it on the screen. And my gut told me that the color print would have been a better option. Everyone said black and white quality was good, and I was like, okay. And it really wasn't. So that's kind of like a user error, I guess. So my next comic will have to be printed in color, not black and white, because the color shows the grayscale 10 times better than black and white ever could. I already tried to see if it was a file issue on my end, but that just wasn't the case. When I did my sample print in color, I'm like, okay, this was a printer issue. My only real disappointment in that is I worked in a copy and print center type thing, and I knew how black and white only looked, and I knew what grayscale should look like. And my first thought was, there's no way that the black and white quality is going to be exactly like the office supply store. Right? I didn't think it would be just like that, and I was wrong. So I guess it doesn't really matter how professional your printer is. I did have a double page spread. I think this is Someone asked me about this in my first video, and this is something I definitely would have done differently. I have no idea why I did it like this. I made these 2 separate files, which is the stupidest thing you could possibly do. Make it one file in Krita to make your life easier. I have no idea why I didn't do that. I cannot give you a good answer. I think part of it was I was overthinking this process so much. Like, every time I did something, I was like, is this what so-and-so would do? Would this get approval? Like, I was just way overthinking it. And part of it is I wasn't letting the creative process do its thing. Part of it was I felt that if I did something a certain way, it wouldn't be like the right way. And that's just not how it's just not how it works, right? There's technically no right and wrong way. There is just guidelines you need to follow, like the page, the margins and stuff. I needed to follow those margins. Like, that's just like it's not a negotiable, right? So yeah, there was really no reason for me to split this page. I wish I would have done that differently. It would have made my life a hell of a lot easier. I think I did have it at one point as one file, and then for some reason I split it. I don't know why I did that. I have no answers. And speaking of that as well, I actually need to make myself a template of a double page spread so I can put that in Krita. So that way, like for example, if I go to add a page from template, I only have the single page. I need to add a Western double spread template, and then I can import that. I don't plan on having any double spreads in book 2, primarily because I'm trying to focus on improving some of my faults that I had in book 1. But I don't know. I'm only on page 9.5. Maybe I will put some double spreads in. We'll see what the story asks for. But yeah, that was definitely one of my mistakes. This was like one of the stupidest mistakes I made. It was just dumb of me. It printed just fine. I mean, it printed just fine. It was just, I made more work for myself when I didn't have to. But I am happy overall with the final product. I mean, there are a lot of pages that I really enjoyed doing. I mean, this first page, I probably would have done things a little different now, but I really liked this. I think that, I don't know, I was just very happy with how that turned out. So yeah, lots of things I learned for book 2. I was going to make a 4th video. I know this one's kind of long already, but I decided against it because I didn't want to like just drag the series out. There's really no reason to. I think going forward, I think that I covered just about all the things that I learned by using Krita when making a comic. I've identified a lot of things I fell short on, and stupid mistakes like not using a double page spread, because what the heck was that about, and not using the comic layers correctly, or sorry, the layers in Krita correctly when it comes to the panels. I don't know what the heck, I don't know. There were some things I just don't know what I was thinking. And some other things like with the final production that I made some mistakes on, but I'm pretty happy overall, and I'm really excited for book 2 because a lot of that's already been addressed. I feel it's more me in terms of story now. I actually went through and looked at some old comic sketches and old comic pages I made when I was in high school, and I'm like, what the fuck is this? Like, this is nothing like it's almost better than what I did here. And I think part of that was I let the story do its thing. I didn't overthink it, I just did it. So I'm bringing more of that back into book 2, and I also have a webcomic I'm working on. It has 10 pages sketched out, and I'm doing a 3rd one, which is a little different. Lots of learning is going to be happening in the next few months. So I'll be talking more about that as well. And talking about the webcomic more and book 2 and everything, probably more in March. So if you want to learn more about the comic projects I have coming up, make sure to like and subscribe. Well, make sure to subscribe to this channel. You don't have to like the video. I would just appreciate if you like the video. So yeah, if you're interested, if you want to make comics in Krita and stuff, or you just want to see how the process is working for someone who's new and changing things, definitely follow me, because I will share all the faults. I will share all the lessons. I'm not afraid of that. Alright, but thank you guys for watching this series. I hope that you learned something, and I hope that if you are interested in making a comic, you're at least able to see that you can do it in Krita, and then final lettering and stuff can be done in Affinity Publisher and Designer, which is a very robust software. I love it so much. If you want to like a more in-depth video about the lettering and stuff for Affinity, let me know in the comments below, and I'll like do it, like not a mini series, but a video about it. It won't be like a professional letterer's perspective, but at least I can show you the tools that I was using to get the text the way I want it to, the word balloon outlines and stuff the way I wanted it to, all that good stuff, because they are important aspects to lettering. If you want a video on that, let me know in the comments below and I can get that together. If you have any questions about my process, let me know as well. I'm more than happy to answer to the best of my ability. I know you guys had a lot of questions in the past 2 videos, and a lot of them were, well, yes, you can do that. I'm just an idiot and didn't. So yeah, thank you guys for watching this video and this short series. I hope you enjoyed it. Thanks for watching, and I will see you in the next video.